This is a guide for speedrunning Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun and its DLC Aiko's Choice. I will mainly focus on general controls and techniques that will be useful throughout the game rather than step-by-step explanations of current world record routes. Since routes can be pretty different between categories, they can become quickly outdated with new route discoveries, and once you know the tech for the game, it's generally straightforward to understand what's happening in runs just by watching them. The tutorial scrolls cover most of the controls for the game, but aren't comprehensive, so there are some really helpful additional controls to know. Generally, the fastest way to select a character is hitting that character's number key. 1 for Hayato, 2 for Yuki, 3 for Mugen, 4 for Aiko, and 5 for Takuma. You can add or remove a character to your selected group by hitting Ctrl plus that character's number. You can also select multiple characters by holding right-click and dragging across them. Just like double-clicking to run, you can double-click any command to have the character run to perform that action. The same applies to commands being scheduled in Shadow mode. Highlighting with the H key is useful not just for helping you find things, but it also allows you to interact with objects even when they're blocked from the camera's perspective. This applies to issuing commands at characters too. You can jump the camera to a character by double-clicking that character's number. If you triple-click or hold the number, the camera will also follow the character as they move, which is something you'll generally want to avoid. An even quicker way to move the camera is to click on the desired location on the minimap, which won't have the same camera slide, but requires precision. You can rotate the camera using the Q and E keys, which snaps to one of 4 preset angles. This can be good if you want a consistent, medium-sized adjustment. For small or large rotations, it can be better to hold the Alt key and move the mouse. The relative speeds of your character's actions are worth considering while speedrunning. For instance, the ninjas run quickly while Takuma and Mugen run slowly. Basic attack speeds differ a bit from character to character. Mugen's attack is very slightly slower than that of Hayato's, while Yuki's attack is noticeably slower by about a full second. Hayato and Aiko share the same attack speed. Knocking out guards is significantly faster than killing them for Yuki, and also slightly faster for Mugen. Enemies will stay knocked out for 30 seconds before waking up. The stars above their head indicate how long they have left, with a star disappearing every 10 seconds. You can knock out an unconscious enemy again to reset their timer. Killing or knocking out a grounded guard won't be seen in partial detection. Knocked out guards will return to their normal positions if you've moved them elsewhere, after looking around for a little bit. If they don't have a path to return, they'll just sit down and stay there for the rest of the level. But there are many other ways to take out enemies which are faster than basic melee attacks though, so let's get to the fast stuff. Jump kills are fast, if you're in the right position for it. In addition to barrels and rocks, Mugen can also throw bodies. Throwing bodies on enemies is a quick way to take them out, but note that targets will be knocked out rather than killed. Using environmental objects is fast, but obviously limited in when and where they can be used. Pistols are a fantastic option because they kill instantly and have a really long range, although they do have a second of recoil before the character can move again, similar to Takuma's rifle. Finally, Hayato's shuriken is an extremely fast option as it kills instantly and has a very short animation before you can move again. The shuriken or pistol are fast enough to perform a solo double kill. Samurai require a bit more to take down. Mugen has the only melee attacks that kill or knock out samurai on their own, and they're super slow. One alternative is to shoot the samurai then stab him. This can be done as a tag team, or done solo by running around his view cone. You can do a quicker solo takedown if you run up next to him before shooting him, although this will generally cost you a point of damage. Dropping or throwing things on samurai is a good option, but the fastest option to deal with samurai is to shoot them with Mugen's pistol. Cutscenes have many properties that can be leveraged in speedruns. You can skip a cutscene by holding space, which has a little delay, or you can skip a cutscene immediately by double-clicking where the skip button appears. Cutscenes don't add to in-game time. When you skip a cutscene matters though, because guard patrol cycles progress as cutscenes play out. This means that you can let a cutscene play until a specific point when guards are at the most desirable point of their cycles without adding to your time. Similarly, some cutscenes affect your own character's starting position, so skipping or playing a cutscene can give you a little bit of free distance traveled.
The dance begins.
Cutscenes can trigger events mid-cutscene that won't necessarily happen at the same point in time if the cutscene is skipped. Events can also be triggered upon end of cutscene, whether it's ended by skipping or by watching the whole thing. This results in a few characters being immune to cutscene progression, who will begin in the same place regardless of when the cutscene ends. When a cutscene ends, it'll show the level, fade to black, then show the level again. You gain control upon the first level show and can move through the fade to black. It's helpful to develop visual cues for spots to place your cursor during loading screens and cutscenes, especially for levels that begin with a trick requiring a very precise click. For example, this Sunpu Castle run entails me teleporting to Noburu from this ledge, and I need to stand right against this ledge for the trick to work. I tested to find that this position at the ledge lines up with this particular spot along the coast on the loading screen's map. So as the level loads, I place my cursor here to make getting the first click right way easier. Mid-level cutscenes also nullify alerts, so you have a bit more freedom in sections right before one. In the game's few unskippable cutscenes, you can progress dialogue very quickly by alternating clicks and the Enter key, but that really only matters when using real time. Next, we'll move to techniques related to avoiding detection and manipulating guard behavior. View cones move along with guards' tiny little heads, so if you look closely where they're facing, you can tell where their view cone is without right-clicking them. If an enemy's view cone whips over you as they turn toward a distraction, they won't see you. In general, alerts are bad because they put your characters in danger and add additional guards to your current section of the map. But when triggered in a specific way, an alert can be an excellent tool for drawing enemies toward one area in order to clear out another. When a guard is killed within sight of another, the guards nearest to the victim, as well as spawned-in red-colored reserve guards, will rush to the victim's location. Enemies will alert if they find a body, and one way to make sure they do so is to toss a body in front of them. With a knocked out body, guards will investigate it, and then alert after waking them up. If you use a dead body, guards will start looking around immediately. Suspicion, indicated by a question mark, is another guard state that can be exploited. There are lots of ways of triggering suspicion, with a couple of different effects possible. Some stimuli will cause guards to be drawn to investigate it, such as footprints in snow. Guards that hear someone get killed will do the same, like with Hayato's shuriken, or with a nearby melee kill or death from a pistol. Note that unlike the pistol, victims of Takuma's rifle make no noise. Guards will run to investigate a gunshot, which doesn't need a target. And samurai will investigate if they get hit with a shuriken. If you get seen by an unfriendly civilian, they will go fetch guards to investigate where you were seen. Detection by civilians is inconsequential if they have nobody to tell. Some suspicion only causes guards to look in a different direction. One example of this is to do a booty touch, where one of your characters walks right behind a guard close enough to be touching them. As long as you keep moving, you can do this without being seen. Guards find booty touches quite profound and will keep looking in that direction for quite some time. Note that even without touching them, guards will notice you if you sit behind them for several seconds. Another way to draw attention is with loud footsteps, like stepping in a puddle or Takuma's run. Combining this with view cone whip blindness, Takuma can distract an enemy and walk in front of them, without detection. Some suspicion will cause a guard to get tunnel vision for that event and completely ignore less potent stimuli, like here how a booty touch will result in the guard ignoring footsteps. The same can happen for alerts, like these guards ignoring the shuriken sound due to a dead body being found. Takuma's Tanuki Kuma is pretty OP in casual play, fantastic for dealing with large groups of normal enemies, and he can lead people all the way across the map. The main drawback to using him is just that he can be very slow. When deployed, Kuma will stay at his location until ordered elsewhere, in which case he'll slowly run there. When possible, you'll want to send Kuma into position well before you need him there, and recall or reposition Kuma as soon as he's done in one place if you need him again, lest you wait half a minute for him to run all the way across the map. Performing most actions will change your character into a standing state, causing you to be seen in partial vision. However, if you hit crouch during the action animation, the game will register you as crouching even though your character still appears to be standing. This is useful in many scenarios, just not for melee attacks. While a guard is in a dying animation, such as from Hayato's shuriken, Aiko or Yuki can instantly take them to the ground by grabbing them, which will avoid detection and partial vision. While eavesdropping, you can have different characters covering different positions to tag team filling up the bar. There's one major glitch known for the game which allows your characters to teleport. If a character clicks on an interactable object at the same time they begin a jump scheduled in shadow mode, the character will instantly teleport to that object. It works with climbables like vines, ladders, and hooks. It works on doors. And it works on usable items like pots, levers, and boxes. For use in speedruns, I recommend remapping shadow mode keys to something easier to quickly reach than the defaults. I personally use the R key for executing shadow mode, and the key to clear all shadow mode commands is V. For consistent execution, schedule the jump to start right from where your character is standing, or walk to where you've scheduled the jump to start. Then, in rapid succession, hit the button to execute the showdown mode jump, then click the target object. Doing both at the same time may still work, but err on the side of clicking right after executing, kind of like tka. If you click with the wrong timing, you'll actually perform the jump and the teleport won't happen. If you perform the inputs accurately but aren't standing quite in the right spot, you just move an inch closer to the jump point and then stop. This can be convenient in that it allows you to keep trying the input until your character inches to the right spot then teleports, but it's slow if you have to do it a bunch of times, so it's better to take an extra half second to get the right spot than do 2 seconds of inching. If you teleport successfully, the jump will remain scheduled in shadow mode. This is important to keep in mind because the next time you execute a shadow mode command, such as having another character do a teleport, your character will move to go do the jump if they have a path to do so. I recommend forming a habit of clearing out your shadow mode queue either right after or right before performing a teleport. There are many attributes of teleports to be aware of. Firstly, Mugen, Takuma, and the villagers can't jump, so they can't teleport. The angle of your camera affects where you can jump from and to, and if you can perform a jump at all. If you're at a ledge and having difficulty scheduling a jump, try rotating the camera. Teleporting to a climbable will initiate a climb, but the direction you start from is determined by where you're teleporting from. If you have an unobstructed path to walk to the top of the climbable from your jump, you'll teleport to the top of the climbable and start climbing down. Otherwise, you'll teleport to the bottom and start climbing up. The simplest way to tell if you have an unobstructed path somewhere is by clicking to that location and seeing if your character starts moving there. If you want to stay on the same level that you start the climb from, you can simply click a command on that level, such as a walk, right after teleporting to cancel the climb. When teleporting to items, you can hold Control as you perform the teleport input to have the character interact with the item upon teleportation. Items usually have just 1 or 2 locations that you can interact with it from, and you'll be teleported straight to wherever that is, indicated by the X that appears on the ground as you hover your cursor. You can also choose to not hold Control and teleport right next to the object. This is the fastest type of teleport because you don't have to wait for any animation. You can appear almost anywhere next to the object with the location being determined by the position of the camera. You'll typically end up behind the object from your camera's current perspective. With certain objects like this hanging box and rolled up ladders, you can end up on a different level than the object itself. Teleports don't work with objects your character can't interact with, like a barrel that only Mugen can pick up, ammo boxes that only Takuma can gather, or a door you can't enter. Unlockable doors work even if they're locked though. Teleporting into a building door is the slowest type of teleport since you go through both the enter animation and exit animation. Compared to this run where I teleported to the door, I improved the time by 2 seconds by teleporting to the ladder instead. Again, teleporting to objects is even faster though. There's another glitch that you can use while climbing ladders and vines from the bottom to teleport up to the top. This is performed by issuing a jump command once you've started climbing, which can be done in 2 ways. The first way is to click a jump off of the level you're climbing to once you've started climbing. The second method is to execute a jump scheduled in shadow mode as you're climbing. This only works if you don't have a path to walk to your shadow mode jump, otherwise you'll climb back down. This trick combos well with a teleport to the climbable, as you'll have a jump scheduled from it. It also works going from top to bottom, but it's a lot harder to do as there's an extremely specific timing that you have to hit execute at. Right about when the arrow that appears when your cursor is over the climbable flips from pointing down to up. I find spamming can help a little bit, but I still can't perform it consistently. The last useful glitch known for the game is the grenade glitch, allowing you to throw grenades through a closed door connecting one area to another. Normally these doors will block Takuma from throwing a grenade, but if he's standing near the edge of it and throws it to a somewhat specific location on the other side, he'll throw a grenade through the space between the door and the wall. The target location seems to be a case-by-case situation, and Takuma will help you a little bit by walking to the right spot if you're not quite there. That's just about everything I know pertaining to general tech for the game. I'll include a link in the description for a guide containing level-specific info. I hope you learned something useful, whether it be in speedruns, challenge runs, or otherwise. If there's something I missed, please let me know. Happy running!